что прежде всего мы используем расстояние, которые говорят о тангаже. И когда осуществляется ротация, далее параметры пропеллера.
4 digits in imperial units. The latter represents the manufacturer. The first 2 digits after the latter represents the diameter of the propeller, and the last 2 digits represent the pitch of the propeller. Generally speaking, if the first 2 digits are greater than 40, they need to be divided by 10. The last 2 digits must be divided by 10 under any circumstances, such as DJ I8040. Here is the unit of propeller is inch. 1 inch equals to 2.55 centimeter. In addition, there are positive and negative propellers. Looking down at the counterclockwise rotating propeller, we call it a positive propeller, which can be represented by CCW, MR, and L. Looking down on the clockwise rotating propeller, it is called anti-propeller, which can be expressed in CW, RP, R, and can be simply summarized as positive propeller.
Подвести таким образом обратное вращение, и антипропеллер осуществляет вращение. Далее мы видим преобразование электрической энергии в механическую энергию. И дальше мы видим заряд, который осуществляется посредством изменения скорости. И на данный момент мы видим, что, как правило, используется именно такой режим для UAV. Здесь мы видим 2.2.1.2 режим. Что это означает? Это размер мотора. Как и пропеллер, он также представлен 4 цифрами. Первые 4 цифры показывают производителя, а следующие 2 цифры — это высоту. То есть мы можем знать, 2.2.1.2 означает, что диаметр
and the height of the stator is 12 millimeter. And the motor KV value refers to the increase in idling speed of a brushless motor when the input voltage increases by 1 watt. For example, KV 330. Thirdly, let's get to know about the electric regulation. It refers to as ESC, which is mainly used to regulate the motor speed according to the control signal. According to the different models used, electric regulation can be divided into brush electric regulation and brushless electric regulation. The brushless electric regulation is often used by UAVs. Parameters of electric regulation. For example, when the brushless regulation marked as 30A refers to the maximum current that the brushless current regulation can continuously and stably output. Some electric tuners are marked with BEC. The Chinese translation it means a battery-free circuit, which refers that
三根较粗的一个输出线，它是与电机相连。这块需要大家注意，就是与电机相连的这三根较粗的输出线，它任意调换两根的话，我们可以实现电机的一个反转。那么三根较细的线，也就是杜邦线，它是与我们的一个接收机
there
相
are
连。
7 or 8 wires for the electrical adjustment. 2 input lines are connected with the battery. 3 thick output lines are connected with the motor, and the motor can be reversed by changing 2 lines at will. The 3 thin wires, that is, signal wires, are connected to the receiver. Lastly is the batteries. UAV batteries are the power source of UAVs, and batteries include lead-acid batteries, nickel metal hydride batteries, nickel chrome batteries, polymer lithium batteries, and dry batteries in the early days. At present, most UAVs use polymer batteries, which are characterized by high magnification, high energy ratio, long life, good safety performance, environmental protection, and pollution-free compared with the ordinary batteries. Next, we will learn the relevant parameters of batteries. Number 1, capacity. For example, 16,000 mAh means that it can be discharged for 1 hour with 6,000 mAh discharge. Number 2, C refers to charge discharge ratio of battery. Number 3, SP. S represents serial connection. P represents parallel connection. For example, 3S to P refers to 2 groups of the 3 electric cores connected in series and then connected in parallel. 3 electric cores are connected in series first, and then 2 groups of electric cores connected in series are connected in parallel. And lastly is the battery voltage. The nominal voltage of a single cell is 3.7 voltage. The fully charged voltage is 4.2 V. The storage voltage is 3.85 V. Discharge cutoff voltage is 3.6 V. Here comes to the flight control system. It is mainly used to measure the attitude stability and control of UAV. Its core is IMU, inertial measurement unit, which is mainly composed of angular velocity sensor, attitude sensor, and accelerometer. The angular velocity sensor is mainly used to measure the inclination of UAV on X, Y, and Z axis. The attitude sensor is mainly used to measure the current attitude of UAV. The position sensor is mainly used to measure the movement degree of UAV on X, Y, and Z. How about the navigation subsystem? It mainly enables the UAV to fly according to the route, including airspeed sensor, altimeter, and position sensor. The airspeed sensor is usually used on the fixed wing, and the altimeter plays a very important role in the safe flight and autonomous control of the aircraft. Position sensor mainly refers to GPS. The fourth is a link system. Generally speaking, UAV has two to three links, namely remote control link, data transmission link, and image transmission link. The remote control link is composed of the remote controller in our hands and the receiver on the UAV. It is a one-way uplink. Data transmission link is a two-way link composed of ground data transmission radio and sky data transmission radio. The image transmission link is a one-way downlink composed of the transmission module on the UAV and the receiving module on the ground. Finally is the ground station system. As the combat command center of the whole UAV system, controls the flight process, flight path, mission function of payload, normal operation of communication link, and the launch and recovery of the aircraft. Common ground station include a mobile phone terminal, computer terminal, and a tablet. Let's have a look at the classification of UAV. It can be divided into five types.
下面呢，我们来看一下下面的这几幅图片。固定翼无人机，它的一个升力
So
主
the
要
first is
这个固定不动的
the fixed wing UAV.
无人机，它是依靠旋翼旋转产生的。第三幅图呢
Second is the rotor UAV.
一般称它空中三蹦子。它的升力呢
The third is also
后面的
a kind of rotor UAV.
部的这个螺旋桨，使其产生一个向前的动力。在前飞的一个过程中呢，会吹起。
Its lift force is that the rail engine drives the tail rotor to generate a forward power. In the process of forward flight, it will blow up the airflow. So the upper propeller will get the lift force from bottom to top and then fly. Number 4 shows an unmanned airship, which is lighter than air. The reason why it can fly is that the gas in the airship is lighter than air, usually hydrogen and helium. The fifth is the power parachute. The power parachute can glide, climb, and stay in the air. The most important is based on the Bernoulli theorem. The upper layer of the canopy is longer than the lower layer. When the air is divided into upper and lower parts from the front edge, the air flowing through the upper layer has a high velocity and low pressure, while the air flowing through the lower layer is slow and high pressure. Because of the pressure difference between the upper and the lower layers, the Buoyancy is generated, enabling the power parachute to glide, climb, and stay in the air. Finally, it is a flapping wing UAV, can generate lift and forward force through the vibration of its wing, just like
第二个呢
birds.
是按用途分类。我们按用途分，可以把无人机分为军用无人机和
Next, we can classify the UAV according to its
侦察无人机、
usage.
诱饵无人机、电子对抗无人机、通讯中继无人机和无人战斗机以及靶机。民用无人机可以分为巡查监视无人机、农用无人机、气象无人机。
So it can be divided into aerial photography, plant protection, remote sensing, and inspection.
这个是我们的一个权益无人机，民用。这个呢是直靶无人机，也是属于民用无人机。第三个，按尺寸分类，我们可以将无人机分为微型无人机、轻型无人机。
Also, we can classify the UAV according to its size.
我们可以简称为微、轻、小、大。首先，我们来看一下微型无人机，它
The mini UAV
质量小于等于7千克的无人机，
and the weight is no less,
质量
no more
无
than
人机
7 kilograms.
的燃料、电池和载荷的情况下所称得的一个重量。
So empty aircraft mass refers to the weight measures when the UAV is not attached with any fuel, battery, and load.
呢是小于3000米。
And the light UAV, the weight is from 7 kilogram to 160 kilogram.
的动力所能达到的最高飞行高度。
Here I'd like to talk about the ceiling. It refers to the maximum flight height
它
that
是
the UAV can reach by relying on its own power.
小于等于5700千克的无人机。
And the little UAV,
它是指空机质量
the empty aircraft mass is between 116 kilogram to 5,700 kilogram. And next is the
第四
big
个，按照
UAV.
分类，我们可以将无人机分为超近程无人机、近程无人机、短
Number
程无人
4,
机、
be
中
classified into
远程无人机。
5 types
超
according
近程
to
无
the
人机，它是指半径在15千米以内的无人机。 近程
diameter
是指15到50千米之间的无人机。短程无人机是指50到200千米之间的。
and the diameter is
中程是指
no
200到800千米之间。
more than
那么远程呢
no longer than
大于
15
800
kilometers
无人机。
and then 15 to 50 kilometers, 15 to 200 kilometers.
第五个，按照任务高度分类。
Number 5, we can classify
我们
it
将无人机分为
into
超低空无人机、低空无人
5
机、
types according to the
高空无
height.
人机以及超高空无人机。低空无人机它是指0到100米之间飞行的无人机，超低空无人机它是指0到100米之间。那么低空无人机它是指100到1000米之间飞行的无人机，中空是1000到7000米之间，高
So
空
the height can
到18000米之间的无人机。
be seen on
超
the
高空无人机
screen.
大于18000米的无人机。
It can be classified into ultra-low altitude UAV, low altitude UAV, hollow UAV, high altitude UAV, and UUAV.
第三个，无人机结构组成。
The third part is the structural composition of the UAV.
多旋翼无人机系统呢，一般有机体平台、动力系统。
Multi-rotor UAV systems generally consist of body platform, power system, flight control system, remote control device, and mission load modulars.
机体平台呢，就是我们前面说到的机架、布局、脚架和云台。动力系统就是我们前面提到的桨机、条池。飞控系统就是导航子系统和飞控子系统。那么遥控装置就是指我们的地面控制站或者是遥控器。任务载荷呢，它就
The
是
remote control devices refers to the
抛投器。
ground station.
那么固定翼无人机它的系统呢，一般由机体平台、动力系统、飞行控制系
The
统。
fixed wing UAV system is generally composed of body platform, power system, flight control system, electrical system, and airborne equipment modulars. You can have a look at the pictures.
这块呢，我们说一下它的一个电气系统。电气系统呢，就是它的一个供电系统和它的用电系统的一个统称。
Here, I want to emphasize the power system.
最后呢是垂直起降固定翼无人机，它也是由飞行平台、动力系统和飞控系统、通讯链路系统等等部分组成。
It includes the link system and the motor.
下来我们学习第二部分无人机的原理。我们会从理论基础、无人机飞行控制原理、无人机操纵、无人机的关键性能。
Next, we will come to the principle of a drone from the four
首
aspects.
先呢，我们来看一下理论基础。
Firstly is the theoretical
第一
basis.
也就是惯性定律，它是说如果一个物体
I'd like to talk about Newton's
那么
three major laws.
的一个趋势，所有施加
Newton's first law:
都是平
if an object is
不会有
in
任何改变。
equilibrium, then it has a tendency to hold down.
或者是
All of the
任何方向
external forces applied on the equilibrium object
分为了两种，一种
are
是静态的，一
outbalanced,
种是
and there is no tendency to change its state or to accelerate or slow down in any
它
direction.
是指我们
It consists of
直线匀速
static
直线
balance,
平行的飞机，
so it is
有加速
static,
有减
and
速
dynamic balance.
这样的一个状
It
态，
refers to flying plane at a constant speed without acceleration, deceleration, or turning.
牛顿第二定律，它是说物体的加速度跟物体所受的核外力成
As for the Newton's second law,
成反比。
the acceleration of an object is directly proportional to the combined external force of the object and is inversely proportional to the mass of the object, and the direction of the acceleration is the same as the direction of the combined external force. So the Newton's second law of motion indicates that the magnitude of the force exerted to obtain a given acceleration depends on the mass of the unmanned aircraft. A large mass object requires more force to break its balance to reach a given acceleration, while a small mass object requires less force.
伯努利方程，
So we will have
伯努利方程呢也是叫做
get to know the
它的一个公式呢
two major laws, Newton's major laws.
其中呢1/2肉为平方是
Next, let's look at the Bernoulli
P0呢
equation.
伯努利方程它的一个实质 即静压代表的势能和动压代表的动能之间可以相互的转换，但是它们的总量会保持不变。
So the Norley equation is essentially the law of energy conversion and conservation, in which the potential energy and the connected energy can be interconverted, but their total amount remains unchanged.
由于我们前后的一个气流
Let's do a
发生了改变，在没有吹气之前
experiment. Take two sheets of paper and place them in parallel. Blow them from one side of the paper. It can be observed that the two sheets of paper are close to the middle. Then the airflow rate before and after this phenomenon has changed.
也就是说，对于低速的流体，流速越大，压强越小；流速越小，压强越大。
That is to say, for the low velocity fluids, the greater the flow rate, the smaller the pressure. The smaller the flow rate, the greater the pressure is.
第三个呢是升力，我们来
The
看一
third
下
is the lift.
它是 L 等于1/2。
Let's look at the lifting formula.
其中呢 ，v 是飞机相对于空气
V
的飞行速度。
refers to the flight speed of the aircraft relative to the air. Next refers to air density at the altitude of the flight. Dynamic pressure, and then S refers to projection area of the wing.
通过这些参数呢，我们可以得出影响飞机升力的因素呢有机翼面积、相对速度、空气密度、机翼的一个剖面形状。
And from this, we get to know the factors affecting aircraft lift. They are wing area, relative speed, air density, wing profile, shape, and angle of attack.
我们来继续看一下升力啊，就是通常情况下，
Let's talk more about the lift. Usually, the upper surface of the airfoil is more protruding and the lower surface is more flat, coupled with a certain elevation angle. In this way, from the front edge to the trailing edge, the flow velocity of the upper wing plane is faster than that of the lower wing plane. The static pressure on the upper wing plane is lower than that of the lower wing plane, and the pressure difference between the two surfaces produces upward lift.
下面呢，我们来看几个相关的概念。第一个是迎角。
Next, let's have a look at some relevant concepts. Firstly, is the angle of attack. The angle of attack when affects the lift coefficient. The angle between the wing chord and the opposing airflow, also called the angle of attack, is usually indicated by A. The other is a stationary point. The point where the air on the wing meets the leading edge is called the point where the air velocity relative to the wing decreases to zero. The symmetric wing rotates an angle of attack against the upstream head, and the stationary point moves slightly towards the lower surface of the leading edge. Here is the resistance. Look at the formula. among which V refers to the
CD 是阻力系数。
flight speed of the aircraft relative to the air. T refers to air density at the altitude of the flight. S is the reference area. And lastly is the coefficient of drag. So from this, we can learn the factors affecting aircraft resistance are wind, fuselage area, relative speed, density of air, wing surface, etc.
是的，这是培训。
那么按照阻力产生的原因呢，我们把
And according to the courses of the resistance of the aircraft when flying at a low speed is generally divided into
因为升力的产生而导致的阻力。
two parts.
它有摩擦阻力、压差阻力，也叫做形状阻力，以及干扰阻力。那么生质阻力，它就是诱导阻力，也叫做涡阻力。我们来看一下摩擦阻力。摩擦阻力呢，它是指空气流经我们无人机表面的时候，由于空气呢它具有粘性，无人机与空气表面发生摩擦，从而产生一个阻止无人机向前进的一个这样的力，就叫做摩擦阻力。那么压差阻力
We divide the resistance into zero lift resistance and lift resistance. So zero resistance is the
相对气流流
power that does not generate lift, and the lift resistance is the resistance caused by the generation of lift. Zero lift resistance is divided into friction resistance, differential pressure resistance, and interference resistance. Friction resistance refers to the friction between the air and the
第三个呢是
UAV surface. When the air flows over the UAV surface due to the viscosity of the air, thus generating a force that prevents the UAV from moving forward.
最后一个是生质阻力。
Next is a differential pressure resistance. It refers to that when the relative airflow flows through the wing, the airflow at the leading edge of the wing is blocked. The speed becomes slower, the pressure becomes larger, and the airflow at the trailing edge of the wing separates, forming a vortex zone, and the pressure decreases, so that the pressure difference between the front and the back of the wing is generated, forming differential pressure resistance. Interference resistance refers to induced resistance.
我们第一小节的内容就先到这里，大家休息。
It refers to the resistance formed with the generation of lift. The induced resistance mainly comes from the wing. When the UAV wing generates lift, the pressure on the lower surface is greater than the pressure on the upper surface, and the air always flows from the high pressure area to the low pressure area. Therefore, the air on the lower surface will flow upward around the wing tip, causing the airflow at the wingtip to twist, forming a vortex at the wingtip, generating downwash speed, and the airflow direction will tilt downward. Okay, so here we will have a break, and the lecture will continue in 10 minutes.
各位同学，我们继续来学习第二小节的内容。
Hello everyone, we will continue our lecture. So please get ready.
第二小节呢，
The next part is about UAV flight control principle. It consists of 3 parts. Firstly, the fixed wing would involve the turning, climbing, and descending. Secondly, multi-rotor is mainly the motor speed. And thirdly, vertical is a combination of the two according to the different stages. The third is UAV manipulation. It also has 3 steps. The first step is the preparation before flight. We should understand the UAV performance, aircraft inspection, control station inspection, communication link inspection, power device inspection. And understand the UAV performance, including takeoff and landing performance, speed range, speed limit, and engine performance. As for the aircraft inspection, it includes checking the appearance, center of gravity, power fastening of components, correction installation of propellers. The control station inspection consists of checking the power supply, antenna connection, software, etc. And the communication link inspection, it includes remote control rocker, control surface, signal, field strength, etc. And lastly, the power device inspection is to check whether there is damage, crack, abnormal vibration, etc. Here is the ground taxiing. Ground gliding is mainly performed by the takeoff and landing operators. It's mainly by controlling the radio joystick control. Gradually push the throttle to the cart and gently pull the lever to takeoff speed. And the UAV front wheel deflection ensures that the plane turns and corrects the running direction. The next is climbing. The climb is mainly performed by the flight operator, keeping the throttle at 100%, maintain the pitch angle, and use the attitude remote control. Whether it is high or low, gently forward top rod and backward belt rod. In climbing, if the speed is reduced too much quickly, it should reduce the pitch angle. And aircraft climbing rate is too small, it should gently increase the pitch angle. The third is the dropping. And the dropping is mainly performed by the flight operator. The throttle shall be at 15%, small throttle.
增加带感量，减小它的下滑
When
角。
drone falls below 10 meters, the focus should be on descent speed, posture, and AO speed.
当无人机下降到10米高度以
Keep
下
the pitch angle. Use the altitude remote control, such as the pitch angle is high or low. It should be gently forward top rod or back belt rod. When the large and small UAV drop, the throttle decreases, the propeller twists, the airflow weakens. The aircraft has a right deviation change. The radio must be properly manipulated left side. In the remote control drop, when the speed is too large, increase the amount of bell road appropriately to reduce the decline angle.
前面我们也提到
If the bend angle is too small, it should be forward gently.
这款无人机它能够飞多高？有2个，一个是理论进程线，一个是实用进程线。那么
Here comes to the key performance of the UAV. Firstly is the limit.
的一个最大高度，
How high can a UAV fly?
它是指飞机以
Theoretically,
等于
static limit
的时候，或者是
refers to the maximum altitude of an aircraft can make a horizontal straight flight.
理论升限它是大于实用升限的。
And the practical static lift limit refers to the maximum climbing rate of the aircraft is equal to the flight altitude, corresponding to 0.5 meters or 5 meters per second. Theoretical limit is greater than the practical limit.
第二个航程，航程它是代表我们
Number 2 is the voyage. It refers to how far can the UVA fly,
加油的一个情况下，飞机以巡
and the maximum range is the maximum distance the aircraft can reach at cruise speed without refueling after takeoff. The length of the aircraft depends on mainly on the amount of fuel.
一共有最大
The third is the flight speed.
巡航飞行速度，
We have a maximum flying speed, minimal flying speed, cruise flight speed, flat fly favorable speed, and flat flight speed.
在一定的飞行距离内，
When the plane flies horizontally and straight line at a certain altitude within a certain flight distance, which is more than 3 kilometers,
那么
the maximum flight speed that the engine can operate at the maximum thrust reaches.
能产生足够的升力，
Let's have a look at the minimum flying speed.
维持飞机
At a certain altitude, the aircraft can generate enough lift to balance gravity and maintain the minimal speed of the horizontal straight flight. It is also known as the speed required by the flat fly.
流量最小的情况下的一个飞行速度。平飞有利速度，它是指能够获得
Next
平飞
is the flight speed. When the engine consumes minimal fuel per kilometer,
是指
and the cruise flight speed represents it can obtain the longest speed of the flat flight. And lastly, the flat flight favorable speed refers to represent that it can achieve the longest speed of the flat flight range.
第三个方面是无人机应用技术。无人
The
机呢
third aspect is the UVA
广泛的应用在
application technology.
军用、警用等领域。在前面我们其实
It is
提到
widely used in the military and police.
侦察打击、通讯中继、电子对抗、打击
For
等等
example, it can be used
它在
in
应用方面的一个应用呢
cornice and strike, communication relay, electronic countermeasures, target aircraft, etc.
巡检以及其他领域。
And the application of UVA in the civil field, such as aerial photography, plant protection, remote sensing, inspection, and others. Now let's have a look at the aerial photography. UAV aerial photography is to take the unmanned aircraft as the air platform. It is equipped with a high-resolution CCD digital camera, light optical camera, infrared scanner, etc., to obtain the image information through the computer image information processing according to a certain accuracy rules to produce the required image.
下面呢，我们来看一下无人机植保。
Next, let's have a look at the plant protection. The use of UAV to carry out a plant protection operation. It has several advantages, such as strong adaptability, not affected by terrain factors, planting methods, and plant height. And it has solved the original operation problems, especially in the hilly and mountainous areas or inconvenient transportation. Sparsely populated areas, mechanical operation is more difficult. Using AVA operation can solve those problems.
第三个遥感。
The third is the remote sensing. UAV remote sensing technology, also known as UAV aerial survey and remote sensing technology, is the use of radio equipment to control aircraft, to quickly obtain information and data technology. It is a high-end new technology integrating computers, GPS, information and communication, and data processing technology. Remote sensing technology makes up for the deficiencies and the defects of the traditional surveying and mapping information collection methods.
第四个是巡检。
The fourth is the inspection. Instead of manual inspection, the UAV can not only get rid of the dependence of the production operation on human resources, reduce the labor expenditure and cost, but also improve the efficiency and accuracy of the inspection operation and ensure the safety of the operation. Based on this, at present, the power, pipeline, plant area, agriculture, and forestry and other main scenarios are increasing the application of inspection drones. In addition to the above 5 fields, UAV is also widely used in surveying and mapping, exploration, engineering, monitoring, and other fields. Let's have a look at the surveying and mapping exploration. UAV is used for topographic mapping as a new technology in the field of remote sensing. With low use cost, fast reaction speed, and easy transfer, it can well adapt to the complex field environment and greatly reduce the labor cost of the traditional surveying and mapping. Here is the engineering monitoring. Compared with the traditional manual inspection, the UAV can realize a multi-angle, all-round and large-range rapid cruise, and transmit the real-time images on the site back to the mobile equipment terminal of the managers to escort the safety management.
下面我们来看一下无人机在军用、警用领域的一些应用。
Next, let's get to know the application of drones in the military and police spheres. Firstly, is a public security law enforcement. In the application of public security business, UAV can provide long-distance aerial investigation and three-dimensional forensics. First, search the ground, targets, and areas on the spot, and continuously send the real-time imaging information and precise coordinates back to the command center. Second, it can conduct flight investigation, search and positioning in buildings, urban areas, sea areas, and other environments to meet the needs of public security investigation and command business. The second aspect is the traffic management. In congested roads, drones can make preparations within 1 minute, quickly obtain field information several kilometers away, quickly handle small accidents through air capture and photo render, and relieve the congestion in time. It can also collect the photos of the accident site through the UAV and cooperate with the accident handling software to quickly issue the real scene record map of the road traffic accident site. The third is forest fire prevention. In forest fire prevention, drones can quickly carry out a fire patrol, find fire sources, judge the fire situation, and provide the best evacuation path for the fire forces. During flight, ground stations can remotely control the ignition and display the flying status through telemetry information to improve work efficiency. Next, we will come to the fourth part. Drones can fly the safe flying of drones. It has three aspects. First, let's get to know the concept of air traffic control. Air traffic control, short for ATC, refers to the use of communication, navigation technologies, and monitoring means to monitor and control the aircraft flight activities to ensure the flight safety and orderly flight. The aircraft must obey the command of the air traffic control agency. At the same time, the aircraft can turn to the ATC in an emergency, and the aircraft should first call the ATC for the first time of radio contact with the ATC. That is the concept. Next is the control department. It is divided into highway traffic control center, approach control room, and airport control tower. Those are or belong to the civil UAV. Next are some general operation and flight rules. As for the flight time, it refers to the time from the aircraft taking off to the end of the landing run, and the organization and the implementation of the flight includes 4 stages. They are flight preparation, direct flight preparation, flight implementation, and flight evaluation. Last is safety altitude of the flight. It is to avoid the aircraft and the ground obstacles. The rotor plane can fly at an altitude of 1 to 10 meters, beyond 10 meters from the obstacles, but the flight speed should not exceed 20 kilometers per hour.
下面我们来看一下安全操作规范。
The second point is safe
起飞之前呢，
operation
一定要查询
specification.
天气预报，不能在恶劣天气
Before
下
flying,
飞
we
行。
should check
这
the
款飞行的
weather
时候呢，需要考虑我
that
们
the
的一个
UAV
水
cannot
火
fly
条件。
in
除此
bad
之外呢， 还
weather,
应该关注它的一个降雨情况和
and the
风力变化
sunrise
情
and
况，
sunset are also
不能
considered
在大
when
高温
planning tasks.
的一个情况下去
And
进
we
行飞行。
cannot fly on rainfall and strong wind.
无人机在飞行的时候呢，还需要在没有障碍物、远离人群、远离动物、
When flying, we should also
地面栏、
consider the
风线、
following
组织、 透
situation,
明玻璃和
such
地面
as
这样
no
的
obstacles,
场景下
stay
去进
away
行飞
from
行。
the crowd, stay away from animals, far from thin
飞行中呢，
cables,
还应该
tight
戴
wires,
高压线、
branches,
讯基站、
clear
基础物质
glass
触
and
控
water, far from high
也
voltage
要
lines,
避免呢是
communication
从
base
屋顶或者是
stations,
钢筋表面的
metal
墙梁上去进行
objects,
起飞。
trees, etc. And also we
这
should
个呢，需要大家
avoid
共同的
taking off
去
from
记
a
录下来。
bridge on the roof or reinforced surfaces. And I hope everybody would memorize those, keep those in mind.
在飞行的时候呢，我们还需要考虑飞行空间
We
间的
should
大小和
also
层面。
consider the
操作过程
size and the
中需要
blind
全面
spots
的
of the
了
flight
解路
space.
线，并且确定路线
Operate,
是否安全。
operating the drone
还应该考虑
requires
其
a
是否会
comprehensive
飞到
understanding of the
地
route
信号
and
道路
determines whether the
观
route
察
is
是否可
safe
能
or
会有
not.
干扰的一些问题，
Consider
比
whether
如
the
说
drone will
高压上
fly
电
to
线路
block
中
the
的信号
GPS
站。
signal
同时
or
呢，也要观察
look
沿
for
路
objects
存在的一些
or
物体，并为
that may
任务的一个
interfere
实
with
现
signals
预定
such
路
as
线。
high
所以
voltage
说，也就是说，
transmission
我们
lines and
飞行之
signal
前呢，还
towers.
需要有一些紧急应
Observe
变措施。
objects present along the route and design predetermined paths for the task. Those are all very important. We
那
should
么无人机
search
在飞
for
行
the
过程中呢，对它影响最大的
emergency
就是
situations.
信号干扰，可能是由于指南针或者是 GPS 以及遥控器这几
The
个
signal
方面导致的。
interference
那么
is the
我们
most
在进行飞行
influential
操作前
factor
呢，需要
during the
对飞
flight
行
of
区域
UAV,
进行选择，
which
不可
may
以
be
在进
caused
飞
by
区线路
compass,
区敏感区
GPS,
域
and
等区域
remote
进行飞
controller.
行。
Then we need to
同时呢，
select
也
the
要
flight
避免
area
电子
before
和
flight
干扰
operation.
较大
We
和
should
不
not
妥
fly
的一
in
些地
the
方飞行。那么，
in the
飞行
forbidden
对于
area,
上次飞行的一个
restricted
风险
flight
降低
area, sensitive
应该
area,
关注
and
信
other
号或者
areas.
指南针进
At
行
the
飞行。
same time, we should avoid flying in places with large
避免呢出现
electromagnetic
危险事故的
magnetic
无人机炸机。
interference and
其次
dense
呢，就是
population.
GPS。
According to the last flight movement distance, we
应该
should
将 GPS 资源
recalibrate
其他
the
的一个电子设备
complex to avoid dangerous accidents leading to
最后
UAV
是遥控
explosion.
器。
The second is GPS. During the body
在飞行的
assembly,
时候，
the
飞
GPS
机呢
should be
遥控
kept
器
away
还
from
应该保持
other
一个
electronic
稳定的距离。
equipment.
飞行场
And
地呢，应
finally
该有高
is
大
the
的一些
remote
建筑物或
controller.
者是信号传输
During
等
the
的
flight, the
障碍压力，
UAV and the
避
remote
免
controller
影响
should be
遥控
kept
器
within
与
a
飞行之间
reasonable
的信号
range,
传输。
and the flight side should not have tall
同时，我
obstacles
们也要避
so
免在电子
as
干扰
not to
和比较
affect
强
the
烈空气
signal
中进行
transmission.
飞行。
At the same time, we should avoid flying in places with strong electromagnetic interference.
最后呢，我们来了解一下无人机的应急处置。
In the end, let's get to know the emergency response of drones.
应急处置，它是呢为处置应急程序中不同类型的紧急或者是危急情况。我们
It is in response to different emergency responses.
描述建议的操作。那么，在无人机发生坠机伤亡或者是任务失败之后，
When the UAV crashed or it fails to complete the task,
干扰等原因造成的，那么
we should
这些原因
firstly
来分析
make clear the reasons
处于紧急情况还是危急情况，
and then
根据检查单找出
judge it as a critical situation, emergency situation, and the emergency process.
下面我们来看一些危急情况、紧急情况和应急的一些程序。那么危急情况都有动力装置、
The critical emergency includes the power,
电气系统故障、控制站
the power system,
下行通讯链路故障，
up-down link
它都是
system
属于一个危急情况。
errors.
第二个是紧急情况，
The second is the emergency situation,
故障、上行通讯链路故障、控制站显示
which has problems in GPS, upward linking,
当出现
system
故障的时候，我们需要
and the controller.
处理。那么应急程序
We
呢，
should
我们
respond
动力
at
重
the
启
first time,
备份系统切换操作，
and the emergency process, including restore or landing. So in order to deal with different types of emergency or critical situations and emergency procedures, we should establish a simple checklist to describe the recommended operations. After the UAV crashes, casualties, or mission failures, we should analyze the reasons for improper operation, equipment failure, or environmental interference. Based on these reasons, we should analyze whether the situation is critical or emergency, and finally find out the basic countermeasures according to the checklist.
第五个部分呢是无人机维护保养。
The last part is the UAV maintenance. We have the check, annual check. So the annual check
年度检查呢有
includes
检查周期，它的检查周期呢是民用无人机至少呢是1年一次，
the civil UVA should be checked
一个是
at least
认证
once
检查
a year,
授权的人员或者是制造商，
and it should be checked by the authorized
第二个呢是没
authorized
有完成检查的无人机将不能飞行。
ones. The UAV without
是
checking
驾驶员判断
cannot
无人机
fly.
是否适航和处于安全状态的一个重要环节。
The
这些
second
检查
is
的
the
系统介绍及方法呢，
check
我们在无人机的
preparation before
无人机操作
flying.
或是信息手册的一个相关章节有介绍。这块呢，如果大家需要的话，可以去民航的一个官网上去进行搜索相关的内容。
You can refer to the website to get the relevant information.
它的一个定义有简单的或者是次要的一些维护操作。
And the third is the
设备的一些替换，这
simple
些呢是我们在日常的
maintenance.
就日常维护保养的过程中，就需要多次的进行一个检查，不管是它的一个动力系统或者是飞控系统，在飞行前都需要进行检查，飞行后进行维护保养。
We should check before flying and maintain the
资方
drones or the UVAs after flying.
拥有或者是运作的无人机进行预防性的一些维护。最后呢，就是维修和更换。
Lastly is the
次要级
replace,
处理和更换呢，它是由我们局方相关的文件。
repair and replace.
那么中要级由局方评估，
It can be classified,
由局方评级
it can be divided into the important
授权的局方认证人员，或是局方代表批准后才能去进行执行。
repairment and replacement.
最后呢，就是无人机的运营、保养和维护。无人机的运营，它是依据
Here is the
根据相关
UAV
的
operation,
无人机
maintenance,
的
and
维护和检查信息。那么保养呢，是需要我们认证的驾驶员完成预防性的维护。最后的维护呢，它是我们制造商建议的一些地面处理程序。
the maintenance is the process on the ground by the manufacturer, suggested by the manufacturer.
我们今天的内容就到这里结束了。大家如果有问题的话，可以进行提问。
Okay, here is all for today's lecture. And if you have any question or problem, you can put forward.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Good afternoon. From Ghana. I want to know whether the slides will be provided and given some translation, or you do it ourselves.
Okay, so what is your question? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
Okay, I say it's interesting presentation, but it's full of Chinese. Will we get a translated version?
So it's hard for you to get the translation?
No, not trans. I'm talking about a lecture slide. The PowerPoint.
So what is the problem?
I said the PowerPoint. Will we get a translated version of the PowerPoint? Hello, please. Do you get me?
So
Can we get a translation of the PowerPoint in English?
yes, we have the English version of the PowerPoint.
Okay, thank you very much. Very happy.
You are welcome. 他是
谢
说，
谢。
他是说，可不可以再把这个英文版的这个 PPT 发给他们看一下？钟老师，
这个的话，我们需要去就是沟通一下，就看是否可以把那个英文版的发给他们。如果可以的话，可能会由我们那个我们可能会发到相关的一些途径上面，就或者说是群里之类的，这个需要再去跟他们沟通一下。
就需要跟那个组委会沟通是吗？Hello, if it is admitted, the English version of the PowerPoint will uh will be shared. 不知道他听到我说话没有？
袁老师，
哎，
没有其他的问题了吗？
现在还没有人问问题，就刚刚只有那一个问题。
如果等会儿没有，就是没有学员问问题的话，我们需要就是将选手都打开摄像头来就是留影一下。
好，
啊，
好，我跟他们讲一下吧。
稍微再等一下，看有
So,
没有
is
人问。
there any more question?
题目共同就可以结束了。
Is there any more question? So everybody, would you please turn on your camera? Would you please turn on your camera and we will take a photo together. Okay, thank you. Hi guys, can you all turn on your camera? Later we will have a photo together. Okay, thank you.好，他们都陆续打开了。钟老师，他们好像都打开了。
各位就是中方的选手，如果大家方便的话，都打开摄像头，我们留影一下。
钟老师，你看可以吗？我打开了。
好的，谢谢各位选手。那么大家还有就是其他的问题吗？
Is there any more question?
老师您好。
好的，这个我们是有录制这个视频，如果大家需要的话，到时候我们会上传，大家可以去看一下。那么，没有问题的话，我们今天就到这里结束，谢谢大家的一个观看。
Okay, if there is no more questions, here the lecture is over.
这个视频呢，我们随后会上传到电报群里面，有需要的话大家可以去看。
And the video of the lecture will be uploaded to the Telegram group. And if you like or if you need, you can download the video.
好的，我们今天的课程就到这里结束，谢谢大家。
We have finished the photo. We have finished taking the photo, and so much for today's lecture. Thank you. So we can log out.